Greetings and welcome to another episode of Sonic Weekly. My name is Bo at the controls, and for Grant this week, he's on special assignment. I'm happy to be talking about Sonic with friends once again, and one of those friends is David the Lurker, the star of the show. Say hi, David.
Whoa, hi, Bo. No hi to Grant. Well, I can shout hi, Grant. He's far away. That's right, he's on special assignment right now. If he had a restraining order on Ken Penders, it would be broken right now. That's how close he is to the man, the myth, the legend. So, that's both awe-inspiring and frightening, right? I don't know.
Didn't think you were going to take it there, but I also have made it a point to stay 500 feet away from Ken Penders. We're joined also today by a new friend of the show, SaturnDave from Sega Saturn. Say hi, Dave.
Hi. I promise I'm not a lurker. I am David, but I know I've listened to your show a couple times, so I guess you could call me a lurker. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. It was unexpected, but pleasant surprise. Yeah, so it's nice. You've been on a cast with us, so. And
that's
so
right.
It's nice
Yeah,
to get on one with you.
I consider us part of the same extended universe. Like
Nice.
Sega Saturn Shiro is connected to this show via me,
Absolutely.
and we're connected to Sonic Retro via David and FTCR, and hey,
Sonic.
we're all friends here.
We all love
and Sonic.
And Sega.
That's right. So we're going to get into the Sonic news, and we're going to talk about the Sega Saturn of it all with Dave. But first, Dave, why don't you tell us about what's your relationship with Sonic? Are you a big fan, medium fan? Which games have you played? Have you consumed the other media? What do you think?
Were you ever engaged to him? That sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't. So I would consider myself a medium fan only because I know that like the Sonic fandom goes so deep, and there are folks that would easily try, I think I'm more of a Sonic fan than some people, but no, there's some really hardcore fans out there. As far as media goes, I mean, my first Sonic game was Sonic the Hedgehog, the pack-in on the on the Model 1, quote unquote, Genesis that we got, and that's what really got me into Sega and Sonic. And that first game is probably still my favorite, as cliche as it is. I just love the music. I love just it. I have so many like nostalgic memories of it. But of course, Sonic 2 is great. Sonic 3, I don't like it as much as everybody raves about Sonic 3. It's cool, but by that time I was probably kind of getting into other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone back to revisit it and stuff like that. But I really do like the Masato Nakamura, kind of Sonic vibes, in terms of music. Of course, Sonic Jam, great compilation on the Saturn, great way for folks to play the classic Sonic games. Sonic World was included in that. I think that's a favorite of yours, right?
Oh yeah.
Sonic R, excellent game. I love it. And I make no apologies, like I really like that game. And then,
this is a pro Sonic R podcast.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Rush on the DS. I even like Mean Bean Machine and like gosh, what is it? Sonic Spinball in doses. I know it's not great, but I mean, I'll even play that. Trying to think, like I've played pretty much most of the Sonic games, except I skipped a period there with some of the modern stuff, and then got back on the bandwagon with like what was it? Sonic Origins, Sonic Frontiers. So there was that odd bit with like I don't know, like the games on the PS2 and stuff like that. Yeah. Unleashed, yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. Where I can't say I have any memory playing those games, but Sonic Colors, played that on the Wii. That was fun, and that got like a DS port and stuff that was pretty good. So, but I have to say I have a little bit of imposter syndrome when it comes to the Sonic stuff, because admittedly, my favorite Sonic Team games are the games that are not Sonic games. Like Knights, of course, is my favorite game of all time. And Phantasy Star Online is probably tied right there with my favorite game of all time. And of course, Burning Rangers, so yeah.
Yeah, you're a big Knights fan, right?
It's my favorite game.
Attack. Yeah.
Oh, I'm like I'm a mediocre player. And when it comes to like those million, I score like 550 to 600,000 on most courses, but then there's dudes that like are in the millions, so I'm better than your average bear, but like not by much.
That's quite a good score either way. David,
Yeah.
how do you play on nights?
How do I play? I don't remember offhand like what my high scores are.
Yeah.
I know I got A's, but it took me a long time to understand how to play nights.
Yeah.
I got it in 96, but I mean I've mentioned it before on the show. I approached it like it was a Sonic game. Like you want to get to the end as fast as possible. You want to like you think it's about speed, but it's not about speed at all. And it was only way later on as an adult that I realized I'd been playing it the wrong way.
Right.
So I don't have the same sort of intense muscle memory as I do with the Sonic games because I was playing it wrong. I don't. I think I'm decent, but I get the feeling that your scores are higher than mine. I could load up Steam, but then I'd be worried that all of this would die, and then that's probably like the most recent.
Yeah, I mean, you could always get better. Like there's this guy, Electric Striker, Knights Charlie. There's this French guy, I forget his last name, Milan or something. There's these, and then Peter Malik of Shiro. They're all million scorers, so like double what I'm capable of, and so that just blows my mind because I'll sit here and grind away with the 3D control pad and just work on keeping the links and everything like that, and I'll feel like Zen. Like it is one of those games where you get in a Zen mode, and it's a score attack, so it's just like classic Sega score attack stuff, and it's still really fun, but I feel like I can't fathom how they're capable of doing that, but yeah, it doesn't take much to get A's either. Like you can get A's and still score fairly low.
Yeah,
it really is all about just managing time and everything like that, and you can have a lot of fun without scoring super high. I think it's just kind of one of those fun things to do with Sega score attack games is just keep pushing yourself, see how high you can go,
right. See how high until you fall off the cliff. It's
just playing nights with my older son for the first time playing through, and he was most impressed not with the fact that I got A's, but that I knew when I finished a course what the grade would be without having to see it.
Yeah.
He's like, how did you know? Look, I've played this 500 times.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like finishing quickly, that's what she said. Basically, you can do that, and people have done that for fun. Like we've had community things where like, let's see how fast we can run this, or I don't know. One year we did on April Fool's thing, jokingly, how slow can you run nights and still win? Of course you get like an F, but it's like, how long can you eke it out? So I don't know. The fun thing about nights and about a lot of Sonic Team games, as like Burning Rangers, is just how much you can explore those games and learn about new things about them 30 years later. You can discover little nuggets and things that are hidden in the game that a lot of folks never would know about the game, but if you spend that time with it, it rewards you in that way. So yeah, Nights is a fun game.
People are still figuring stuff out about the Nightopians.
I know, it's crazy. I love every time Digi Valentine and I don't know, all the folks that are picking the game apart. I think you've
Grimmer,
had a hand in that as well, right?
Yeah.
Every time, Grimmer Warden, and every time they unearth something new, I'm just like right there. Like I'm watching that video and just poring over every detail, of course. And much like with the stuff that you do with tearing apart Saturn games, and seeing how they tick and finding new codes and stuff. Sometimes the game isn't my cup of tea, but most of the time I'm excited when you open those things up and you find all sorts of new stuff, like the Congo one that you did. I'm gonna have to try some of that stuff,
Yeah, we'll get more into that in a minute.
Okay, sorry.
I was gonna ask on Nights. Were you early on Nights? Did you get it when it came out?
Relatively so. Like I would say it came out in the summer and I got it at Christmas because I became aware of it at the same time when I was like interested in getting a Nintendo 64, and they were in the shops and there were long queues for Mario 64, and Nights was just kind of relegated to like this tiny little CRT demo. But I saw the rolling demo of Nights and it was just like instant, love at first sight. And so I saved up to get Nights and the 3D control pad. So it was kind of like Christmas 97. Yeah, Nights came out summer 96, so I got it in January 97.
Yeah.
And I've been a fan.
And did you read the Archie comic?
I've read like a lot of the I don't own any. That's the thing, but I have at different times read like the Sonic Archie comics and the Knights Archie comics, which is cool, you know. And of course, IDW used to be like a block from where I work in Liberty Station in San Diego.
Oh, really?
I think they've moved now, but yeah, I used to go over there and check out like their Ninja Turtle stuff and their Sonic stuff, because they were doing all that stuff, the comics.
Do you remember, David, were those 97 the Knights comics?
Oh God.
Or were they later?
I don't remember the exact date, but that I could look up the exact date right now because
there was a run of 3, and those were
there were
kind of better ones, and
2
then
miniseries.
The back 3 were
it was
back 3 were not as good.
Yeah, you had right. The first 3 were adapting the game, and then the second one was like, whoa, guess what? We swear there's more. Oh yeah, it was written by Dan Slott, creator of Sonic the Zone Hog. I can't forget that. It was November 26, 1997 is when it first went on sale with the cover date of February 1998, because that's how comics work.
Oh, yeah. They should have got on that a year earlier.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I found the first issue hiding in a dollar bin like years and years later, because I had I had the second miniseries, and then I slowly found the first, but I could never find issue 1. Not because it's hard. I mean, I guess it's hard to find, but it's hard to find because who wants it? You know,
right?
I think I was taking the page out of the Sonic Archie book, mailing it in with a check, and
I heard that story. I heard you tell that story on one of the. Oh, you were with on a Radio Sega. You did that recent podcast, and that was a cool story about the Archie comic and everything. But that's like there you go, like the Sonic fans who are like into the Archie comic and stuff like that. You guys go pretty deep. Like, I mean, I've had, you know, encounters with it here and there, but I'm not, I don't know, that hardcore. I have a really pristine copy of the strategy guide for Knights, although
the Primo one.
Yeah. What's the author? Nick something, I forget. But I've got a lot of Knights ephemera and stuff, but I mean, not. Yeah, I don't have the comics, and I think they might be pretty expensive by now. So, you know, there's so many things to spend your money on. I haven't gotten around to getting
I think you should buy them. You should buy them right now. I'm going to go to eBay and search right now Nights into Dreams comic, and we'll look it up.
Yeah, how much? Like, I would love to get a set. It would be easier if you could just get them as a set, but probably would have to piece it together.
You might have to piece it together.
I'm kind of stickler about the condition, because if it's all shabby, I collect magazines as well. So,
okay. Hey, you know what? Actually, there is one going. Oh, should this be edited out in case you actually do want it?
No, that's fine.
All right, who cares? Right. Well, I mean, there's a listing going on right now. It'll end in 6 days, 22 hours.
Oh, yeah.
First,
only 10,
price
and
is right.
No bids.
I'm going to say
there's no bids.
Yeah,
it's the first 3. It's not all 6, but it is the first 3. So that's not bad. But there are some listings that are.
Wait, this is 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, this is the first 3.
Okay, because then there's this other listing that's just like the first one, and he wants $99. So it's like all over the place.
Yeah, well,
you can't really go by.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
that's cool.
Yeah, Archie Sonic and I guess Archie Knights. The pricing has gotten all weird over the last few years. Like I remember in 26, like when it was at the verge of cancellation, you look in like the Overstreet guide, and most of those books were like $3 at most. Like that's how much they were meant to be. But already people were trying to charge more on eBay or at conventions. Like if you're trying to get them all now, it's going to cost way too much. But they really shouldn't be worth what people are paying for. Yeah, which I guess is why Ken Penders is doing what he's doing poorly. But all right, I got to be nicer in case he's on the show, right?
That's true.
I would love to have Ken on. I got a lot of questions about Sonic Live.
Yeah,
about all of it.
Yeah.
Okay, before we leave this section and go into the news, would you say, SaturnDave, that your favorite Sonic game is then Sonic Jam because you get all the original ones and it's on Saturn?
I think I'm, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm probably just going to go Sonic R. just because I
Oh,
love championing that game, despite the fact that so many people give it hate. And there's actually like a rising, it's rising in popularity. There's a cohort of people who are all about the game, and they kind of boost it up. And I kind of convinced my friend Mel Sega Lord X to give it a try and like it more, and I mean, so I really do love Sonic Jam. No lie. I mean, that's great. But some people will argue like, oh, it's a better experience on the real hardware. And I could get that
right.
too. Like, so I play Sonic on a regular Genesis as well. But I mean, I do think that was a good bang for your buck. Like 3 games plus you get the Sonic World, and you have like the little difficulty sliders. So it was a really good way to get my son into Sonic. Because when he was little, he'd play the Sonic Jam Collection because I could set it on easy and it would kind of be like training wheels, And then
Yeah,
he didn't
no,
need it
no
anymore, but he
barrel.
loves Sonic, and that got him into it. Yeah, so I know I'm just gonna say just because I'm an insufferable Saturn fan, I'm just gonna say Sonic R because that's kind of like the Sonic game that we got that nobody realized we got because they were all like, "Oh, there's a janky racing game,"
Right.
but it's actually a lot more than that.
I don't think I've told my Sonic R Christmas Miracle story. So I got that the holiday season after it came out.
Yeah.
And my parents said, "Oh, we're going to go take a ride around town. We're going to look at Christmas lights."
Mhm.
And we get in the car and we come back and everything under the tree is now set out. There's presents. For me, there's Sonic R and an extra Saturn controller under the tree. That was not there when we left. And I'm much too old to believe in, the Christmas miracles of it all in 1997. But I still have no idea how my mom pulled that off. Did she get the neighbor to come in and
Yeah,
set up the presents? It really
crazy.
never got an explanation for that.
I
But
think
Sonic R under the tree. What a
Nice.
great year.
I think it was Santa. It was Santa.
It was Santa. Yeah, so got the Sanshiro came in your house.
That's right.
That's right. But Bo never got beat up for not playing Sega Saturn. He was a good boy. He played with Sega Saturn.
Right.
In fact, that's kind of like all you played, right? Like after you found out that there was not. Or no, you were into Dreamcast, right? But you kind of cut it off after that. Right?
I had a weird path. I had Game Gear first,
Right.
and then I didn't get a Genesis until '97. At the same time, I got Saturn, and then I was Dreamcast on 99, and then done.
And then yeah. That's why you've been catching up.
Yeah, then a long fallow period, and then catching up.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll fast forward to the present day. David, why don't you dial up our friends at Sonic Stadium and let's see what's new in the Sonic world.
Oh, right. Okay.
The one thing I know off the top of my head is this new animation for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which is sort of like a lower budget Tails tube. Did you see this one?
Yeah, I guess we'll call it an animation. I mean, it's more like visual novel style, right? Where it's
right,
a couple art pieces that switch back and forth. It's Sonic and Tails, and they're telling everyone about the wonders of teams of Sonic Cross World Car Town. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. That's the name of the game. I mean, I guess there's not too much new about it. It's mostly just it's flavor text, Tails and Sonic talking. Sonic being like, "I'm way better than Shadow," and Tails is like, "Oh, but what about?" And he's like, "No, I'm definitely cooler." And then giving some lip service to the customization options within the game.
The thing I took away from it is Dodonpaw from Team Sonic Racing is really in it, which I thought surely they would not bring back Dodonpaw for real, but no, he's
there. I don't think he plays
the
him.
motivator of the story.
Right. Assuming there is story. We haven't really gotten a sense that there is story because there's all the random DLC characters, so I was kind of doubting if we are getting an actual story in this game. But who knows? I mean, it's fine.
And we do think there's going to be some Sonic R references in Cross Worlds, right? At least music cues.
Yeah,
there'll probably be. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be music cues, but personally, I would
like who's doing the music.
A bunch of random people. I don't know.
But okay, all right.
They haven't really said like this is everyone who's involved.
Okay,
we're not going to get David started on Busted, the British pop punk group who sang the vocal theme for this, because David went on a real rabbit hole on
I did. I
on
was
the
looking at.
Busted discography.
That's right, because Busted. I don't know. Busted wasn't an entity over here in the United States. They never released
No.
any of their albums, but they were a multi-platinum group in the early 2000s in the UK, and then broke up pretty quickly, and then got back together not that long ago.
Huh.
And
Now they're in Sonic.
now they're in Sonic. Well,
Wow.
the lead singer's in Sonic. I don't think he wrote the song.
Yeah, one of them's in.
One of
Sonic.
them's in Sonic. One of the Busted. One of the Busties is in Sonic.
The Busties.
Yes.
Nice.
So I'm sure, it's like, Jun Snow is hiding out in there. I would be shocked if Richard Jack doesn't show up, or Jacques, if you
But
want
do you think
to.
he will?
It's Jake's.
It's Jake's.
Believe it or not.
Yeah,
I've been
Jake.
saying Jacques this entire time. And when I interviewed TJ, she's like, "It's Jake's."
It's Jake.
Like, what? I would never pronounce it that way.
Right. That's why I prefer Jacques, because it's
Jacques.
wrong. And
Yeah.
He did that fantastic
Jake.
mix of Sky Sanctuary and Back in Time from Sonic R. Oh my gosh. So good.
Yeah. So
But he's got that Marvel money now. Is he too big for Sonic?
You never get too big for Sonic.
Yeah, he's working on a lot of stuff, but I know he loves Sega, and he's been to, they honored him recently, right? He and TJ were at that event together. So, I have to think that something's on the horizon.
Yeah.
Whoever did, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but the guy who did the music for Sonic Frontiers, especially like the flowing and stuff like that, was like able to channel Jake's like really that Jake's and TJ kind of energy really well. Like that at first I thought that was TJ Davis, and I was like, and then when I looked it up, I was like, oh no, okay, they just did a really good job kind of getting that energy, and I'm hoping they do that more with Sega games in general and Sonic. Good stuff.
I'm looking forward to the soundtrack as much as anything with Crossworlds.
Yeah. I'm sure some of it will be good. I'm still unsure about that fake choir.
Yeah, the vocal theme is bad, but
so yeah, they did that, and in the little animation there was a hint of Radical Highway, and then not that long after they're just like, here's a video. Radical Highway's in this game. So
there was another short video that had like a clip from Sonic Adventure 2, and then it cuts, and now we're in Crossworlds Racing, and you can see it's actually the same Radical Highway, but this time we're Shadows in a car.
Yes. So, road work ahead. Chase down your opponents through the perilous, unfinished bridges of Radical Highway in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. So, there you go. That's happening.
This might be an unwelcome comment. I don't know, but like, as much as I love All Stars Racing, as much as I love those games, I think they're great. The drifting feels great. And, in some ways, I think it's almost better than Mario Kart, and continuing that seems like the obvious thing to do. I really would love to see Sega at least try to do another on-foot racer, or at least have that be an option, where that you could like jump out of the car. Imagine you got like a double dash thing going on, right? And you've got Tails in the back or something like that, and Sonic's like driving the car, and then like you could just jump out of the car and start running on foot and go collect something along the track and jump back in the car or something like. I'm just thinking like there's a lot of different opportunities for on foot sections, or maybe there's a certain area that's like either off-roading or it's a narrow passage that you can only navigate on foot, in order to pick up a Chaos Emerald or something like that, right? So in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping that they would, because Sonic, he's like the fastest thing alive, right? So and he is so on his feet, not in a car, So I just want to see a Sonic racing game where he's on foot. Yeah, and I think they have the technology to make it happen.
Yeah.
I feel like they perfected the formula on the Sonic racing games with Racing Transformed, and I've said this every week. We've talked about Crossworlds. Like, throw me a curveball. Give me something weird.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely there with you. It they did it once with R. I don't know why they're so afraid of it. Like,
well, because it was. It was a marketing failure with R. Like, I like it, but objectively, a lot of people hated it.
Well, I think it was also. It's hard to judge because Sonic R came out in 97 on the Sega Saturn. 7 people owned a Sega Saturn in 1997.
Yeah.
No matter how much we love that system, no one had it in 19, like no one cared. Sonic R
Like
was yeah.
yeah. Drifting makes more sense, and like driving just in general just makes more sense in everybody's mind when you're thinking about four wheels on pavement, and the physics that go along with that. So like when you just have like a, 2 feet relatively close to each other and you're thinking about like turning and stuff, you would get that in Sonic R where you go around a corner and you kind of like blah, 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 kind of like do a sidestep and then try to go, because it had like this moon physics, but I don't know. I think like it's been a long time and they should at least explore it,
They should.
Uh,
I mean, there's drifting in some of the newer Sonic, like the Boost games. There are moments where Sonic
right. Yeah.
drifts, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's part of Sonic's DNA at this point.
hmm
You just have him lean over and put his hand on the ground.
Like when I'm playing Frontiers and you get up to pretty fast speeds in that game in 3 dimensions, and I'm thinking, okay, there could be a racing game here. In fact, if somebody hacked this up and put them on a track and use these physics, like you could have some semblance of a racing game here, and then some grinding rails, to kind of move over to a different segment of track or something like that to get like a shortcut or something like that. But I mean, there's just so much there. And as I still love the cars. I do. I like the vehicles, but I just think it'd be neat, That's but
Yeah,
I don't mean to complain.
that's all right.
Well, speaking of Sonic Frontiers, before we leave the news section, it looks like IDW, the comic books, are going to bring
Oh yeah.
that storyline into the Frontiers era. They've been in the Forces world since the beginning, right? Since the beginning of the IDW license.
Yeah. So, starting with issue 84, they IDW put up a teaser in the form of a tweet / social media whatever. That was on the 22nd, and then they were like, "Oh, what is this? I wonder what it is." January 2026. Next day they went, "Oh, it's Sage." So I don't know what the point was of drumming up interest for 24 hours. Like, what could this be? And then they just tell you anyway. But yeah, it's Sage. It's clearly Sage post Frontier. She's got she's not all red. She's all blue. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, personally, I would love to see a comic book adaptation of Frontiers, but I don't know if they're going to do that.
Well, Sage comes out in November of 2022 in Frontiers, same month as ChatGPT launches. AI was in the air there. Sonic was early on the AI boom.
Wait, did Frontiers really come out in 2022?
Yeah, November 8th, if I recall.
November
correctly.
of 20. So so it'll be like it'll be over 3 years between Frontiers coming out and the comic going, "Oh, should we acknowledge this game?"
Yeah, I complained about Archie being a year late on Nights, but really they were ahead of the curve.
They were they were ahead of the curve. I mean, right, the current comic really hasn't adapted any. The only times we've had adaptations, it was the Team Sonic Racing, which wasn't really an adaptation, it was the tie-in comic. And then they announced there's a new tie-in comic for Crossworlds. But they've avoided full-on adaptations. And now that we're getting Sage, I mean, unless issue 84 starts as we're adapting the game, we're going to get a footnote, aren't we? That just says, "Hey, I hope you played Frontiers. It happened, we swear. Here's the next issue of the comic."
I would be interested to see what they could do with it. The the weird issue that's all pinball.
The weird
2/3 of the way through the arc. That'll be weird.
Right. I think it would be funny. They won't do this, but I think it would be funny if the comic decides to introduce her completely unrelated to Frontiers, like pretending Frontiers isn't a thing, and they just introduce her in a new way. And then that would just make everyone go crazy because they're like, "Wait, so are the comics not canon anymore?" And then they'll just say, "Oh no, we swear they are still canon. Just ignore the fact nothing makes sense anymore." That's what I want.
I have a question. Then this might be a stupid question, or this might be widely known, but do you think that Sage, like them naming her Sage, like had anything, was like a nod to the Sonic fan games, what was it, the Sonic Amateur Games Expo?
Oh, there's a question.
Because that's Sage as well.
Yeah, I don't see. I'm not sure if they've ever confirmed it, but did Ian say that he came up with the name? Because he is definitely aware of Sage being a thing, and he's been a guest at Sage. Like
Okay.
they used to do interviews and stuff, so he's fully aware of it.
I'd wondered about
Could
that.
be. It could be just another scrambling of Sega.
Right? Yeah, I feel like there should.
Yeah, I suppose that's
Get this good takes ages.
Should know. I don't know. I've just sort of assumed. Oh yeah, that's probably what it is. But you know what?
We don't have any like concept art or design docs for Sage, do we?
No, I don't think we do.
Those will come out in a collection in some.
Oh, we have a drawing here. According to Ian Flynn, that's not helpful. It's just saying, according to Ian Flynn, he didn't know what Sage looked like when writing the script.
Oh, well.
Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. I just want to know if anyone's ever gone on record Ian Flynn, in a cheeky tone, denies that officially the name is a nod to Sonic Amateur Games Expo.
Okay.
In a cheeky tone, so that might mean it is.
He's saying no, big wink.
Nope, it's not. I have to admit it's not, because I guess Sega can't acknowledge.
I guess that's true.
Even though Sega has acknowledged, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Anyway.
Either way, she's coming. She's gonna be there. Who knows what she's doing? So have you, David, or David? Has anyone just ever called you David? Yeah, David.
I haven't been to Spain yet, but maybe. Like, it might happen.
It might happen,
Or debut if I went to Japan.
Yeah, right. So, because you said you've you don't really have the Archie stuff. Have you read much of the IDW? Like you said, you used to show up in their office, just I guess barging in without them knowing. Breaking in.
No.
You broke in.
No, they have like a foyer. They had like a nice foyer area and a shop where you like buy stuff,
go in and
then
visit,
they had a life-size Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and by life-size I mean larger than me, probably taller than The Rock. It was huge, and I think it was Michelangelo. And kind of scary looking, from the quote unquote live action movies. It was that look. And then what else?
The Michael Bay ones, you mean?
Right. Yeah, but they had all sorts of Ninja Turtle stuff there as well. In fact, there was a show there. They had a museum as well. It was they had like an entire block of Liberty Station, for like IDW stuff. And but I know they moved like a couple years ago, so I'm not sure where they're at now.
But
I could Google it, but yeah, I know they're not in Liberty Station anymore.
Yes, but have you read much of or any of the Sonic IDW?
Yeah, like here and there. No, not religiously, and I don't know like the canon, I'm not that deep into it. But I mean, you ask me anything about Sega Saturn, I can answer.
Saturn,
there are like all these peripheral, hardcore, hardcore scenes where people just know everything, and I'm not that when it comes to Sonic, but I still, of course, would say that I love Sonic.
All right, well that's a perfect transition. We're going to shift from the Sonic portion into the Sega portion.
Right.
And this is also where we hear our promo from our good friend Barry the Nomad, and our sound editor is going to put that in right here.
Hey listeners of Sonic Weekly, this is Barry from Sega Bits to tell you about a few of our shows. Sega Talk is a bi-weekly show in which my co-host George and I look back on the many games in Sega history. The Swing and Report Show Live is a Sega interview show and the longest-running Sega podcast of all time. Listen to interviews with special guests like former Sega CEO Tom Kalinske, Sonic voice actor Roger Craig Smith, and many more. Watch or listen at youtube.com/SegaBits or search Sega Bits on your podcatcher of choice.
When I go to Chicago, I'm going to crash on Barry's couch.
You should do that. I slept on his couch.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
I was on the Sonic forums since I was 11, and I never met any of these people until I had a coworker who was like, "Oh yeah, I know you from the forums."
That's just fun.
But then I went and stayed at Grant's house, having never met him, and that could have gone anyway.
All
right, we're back from the break. Now we're going to get into the Sega Saturn of it all. We've got an expert on that topic here, and we'll start with something I teased last episode of Sonic Weekly, which is one of the, let's say, underappreciated Saturn games based on the movie Congo, the Michael Crichton adaptation.
Right.
The Lost City of Zinj, not well reviewed. The reviewers did not like it. A lot of people did not like it. I got a lot of feedback when I published my cheat code article about it. How people tried it and they didn't like it. But I think these cheat codes that I found, they give you unlimited health and unlimited ammo. They're going to really change the reception of this game. People are going to be able to play it.
Mhm.
They're going to experience it and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dave? What's your take on Congo?
Well, first of all, I think the game reviewed better than the movie, and that's saying something. like there were a couple magazine reviews where they were like, well, at least it's better than the movie, but not by much, it's one of those games where, yeah, like the gameplay is pretty rough, but there was a lot of stuff going for it, like ambiance. Like they had a really good sound design. They had some really good FMV sequences that were kind of campy, but like sold really well. Like the actor they got did a great job. It was
I kind of like the guy.
Yeah, but Tembo, he's funny. I mean, you're like, how is?
And for the listeners who don't know, it's Congo the movie, big budget movie starring. Who's it starring? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is Tim Curry in it at any point? I don't think it stars him, but he might be in it.
I don't think so. I don't
Is
remember.
He not in Congo?
Like...
What was he? Was he in some other jungle movie? Laura Linney, Tim Curry, Ernie Hudson.
Tim Curry.
Okay, I had no idea.
Dylan
I didn't
Walsh.
actually watch the movie.
Joe Don Baker. Rest in peace.
But inexplicably, the game doesn't use any of the video from the movie, any of the scenes from the movie. It's just sort of set in the same universe.
It's like a prequel, I believe. It's like a prequel to the movie. Yeah, it's like this is.
They got a whole different guy.
His whole motivation is just money. Like he's just getting rich, right? So he's trying to find this lost city of Zinj and get these diamonds so that they can make some kind of like laser beam or something like that, which they're going to just use as like a military weapon. And essentially they'll just like do these like drops, and drop him like, ammo and food and stuff like that. And he has to just kind of like uplink satellite communication to them every so often, to kind of tell him where he's at. But in the meantime, he's being hunted by the apes and whatever, and jungle fever and whatever. Well, I don't know.
No, he does fever. Like hallucinate early in the game.
Yeah. And so it's he hallucinates, and that plays a part in the gameplay and kind of makes it difficult. Like the controls are all backwards. You know how frustrating that is. You're trying to navigate. It's all right. The game's already hard enough as it is, but then like forwards is backwards and left is right. So it's like neat. It is neat. It is neat. Like Peter and I, who we both like Knights. We both love PSO. We both love a lot of these like really, really good games. We like Twin Peaks. We like weird stuff that's kind of avant-garde, and there's something about Congo that I like and that keeps me coming back to, and I think it's mostly the ambiance and the vibe of the game. But I'm not going to lie and say that the game is easy to play. Even on easy, it's difficult. And I think that's just what they had to work with. Robert Leyland was the guy from Jumping Jack. It was basically like what was considered a Sega away team. Mm-hmm. It was one of the teams that Sega basically knighted and said, okay, you're second party basically, and you have access to a lot of the brain trust or whatever, and you have access to resources and stuff that third parties wouldn't have. And
what else is in that camp? That's like a bug.
Bug from those guys. You had Gen War, which was also from Jumping Jack, and I think it predates Congo. That was like, and it was that effort to get software out for the launch for Saturn, so they had a few companies that they brought into the fold. They called them Tiger teams. But that's, then they ended up being called Sega Away Team. They all kind of got branded. But yeah, essentially, if you ever listen to or watch Nick Pandemonium reviews every US Sega Saturn game, he does some amazing mini documentaries. Well, or not so many documentaries on YouTube.
The Sega Rally one's 4 hours, right?
I know, right? Yeah. So I mean, but the Gen War one is like 1 or 2 hours, and he has an entire interview with Robert Leyland. And I think when you hear like what kind of obstacles they were working against, and the fact that they didn't actually have Sega graphics library yet, and they were just trying to come to grips with like the architecture of the Saturn, you kind of gain at least a historical appreciation for like what they were up against with this game. Kind of gives it a little bit of context. And then with your codes, I mean, yeah, definitely, hell yeah, I'm gonna be using map markers at least, you know. Like that's maybe just a little bit of cheating to augment the game enough to make it like passable. Like, okay, like if it had these quality of life improvements, you know, I wouldn't go so far as to just do, you know, unlimited life, but maybe. And the ammo drops aren't that cheap, you know. They give you enough ammo. It really is just a matter of, you end up doing so much backtracking to try to fill out your map, and then you get killed as a result of having to like retread areas that you shouldn't be going back to. You know, it was hard enough to get through them in the first place. You don't want to go back through there. So yeah, you just kind of, it's a death by 1,000 cuts in that game. And so having something like the map markers, or I don't know how many other codes did you unlock?
It was 6 or 7, I think. The
Yeah.
level select, I think, is my favorite because
Oh yeah.
like all the screenshots of the game you see online are just the first level because nobody can get
Yeah.
past it. But
Yeah, and that's because the game is not balanced in that way. It's like you're in the jungle for a really good portion, and then after that, you're inside like the temple and stuff like that, and the gameplay completely changes. And the performance arguably gets better as well because it's not trying to draw so much foliage. But a
yeah,
lot of people don't know that, you know. So yeah, it's probably nice to just play a couple jungle levels and be done with it, you know.
Huh.
So, but yeah, that's cool.
I'm kind of drawn to the quote unquote bad games. Like
Mhm.
I kind of want to find
Yeah, I've
something
noticed.
redeeming for them.
No,
You got your
I'm just
Criticoms and
kidding. Yeah,
your
you did Criticom.
what's the Iron Man one?
Oh yeah, Man of War. Yeah, Iron Man.
Yeah.
Which again, you would want it to be a good game. It's a Marvel franchise. And Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. You think, oh, that's going to be an
Right. Yeah,
amazing
both the
game. Nope,
Marvel ones.
terrible game. So maybe your code's made it a little better. I haven't had a chance with that one specifically, but yeah. So yeah, there were a lot of those on the Saturn that were just turds.
I'm gonna try to do like sprinkle in some good games though in between. So next week, the preview for the listener, I'm gonna do Sky Target, which I think our friend Dan
Dan will
Thrax will
be,
enjoy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Danthrax would love that. I think that's one
So
of
that's
his
a Sega first party game. That's
Yeah.
in the Afterburner extended universe,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yeah, that we all kind of consider it like this, you know, it would be basically an afterburner game. And I think it started out development that way, right? But then they ended up,
I think
maybe
that's
they
right.
didn't like how, maybe they were like, oh, this isn't good enough to be an afterburner game, put a different title on it, you know? Yeah, so.
That one was in the arcades though, right? That wasn't just the home.
Yeah, and I believe that was Model 2. Yeah, I think it was Model 2 for Sky Target. And I think the arcade game is quite a bit better. But who knows? Maybe these cheats will make it a little bit better. So it's because it's not terrible.
I like.
It's not terrible.
No, I don't mind a
just, you
Sky
know,
Target, and I
yeah,
like an
it's
Afterburner.
like
I
a
like
C, you know, like it's kind of one of those just right in the middle kind of games. But it goes for crazy. It kind of, I mean, I think a long box of that is kind of ridiculous because I don't think they made that many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the American release.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my contribution to the Saturn world. But let's talk about yours, SaturnDave. Like, tell the listeners who don't know, like, what's the origin story for the Shiro website and community and all that stuff? Like where do you come in?
You know, I think it goes back, and I'm just one soldier in the Saturn army, but Pat, you know, it goes back to I think probably like being inspired by the Dreamcast junkyard. You know, there was the Dream Pod.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an established Dreamcast podcast, you know, and of course, lots of different resources for Genesis, Mega Drive, you know, lots of love for that. Not a whole lot back in, I don't know, 2016, 2017 for the Saturn. Aside from maybe like, you know, Mel, Sega Lord X doing his videos that were pretty heavily Saturn focused because that's his favorite console. the odd YouTuber here or there doing a one-off, but and a lot of, like, why did Saturn fail? This is this is why Saturn failed. This is why it sucks, or it's good now, but it was terrible back then. And again, very, very much of a lot of a like a US Western focused view of the Saturn, not at all like it did gangbusters in Japan, it did amazing in South America and Portugal, and arguably pretty well in some other places as well. So, but I mean, again, the US is big, and in some places you didn't even know about it at all. And then in some little micro communities, they had a bunch of Saturns. So, I mean, it's just kind of crazy how that is. Pat and I got together and decided to do a podcast, which spun into, I don't know, a website just as a place to put everything, because we just kept having so much to talk about and we needed a place to put it all. I think that the website was kind of an initiative to break away from the walled garden that is Facebook. We had so much of our identity tied up into Facebook because that's kind of where we met. And then we realized it's like, this is not getting out to the world. This is only getting, if you have Facebook, right? So the website was kind of like a necessity. And then it just spun into a magazine, like a fanzine. And then the Shiro Show during the pandemic was just something to get the community together every Friday to talk Saturn. And, it's funny. It's like, I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg, but like reporting on the Saturn news, I think is kind of like we're the cheerleaders, and then everybody has motivation to make more Saturn news, because people are like, oh, well, there's a platform that's going to talk about it if I find cheats in this game, or if I, make a new homebrew game or something like that. And so, it kind of snowballed, and there's a lot more stuff going on in the Saturn community to talk about. So Shiro Show has been, it's been quite successful. And Dan came into the fold, and he's, does news professionally, at least, for like articles and stuff like that, layouts for newspaper and stuff. So, I mean, that's kind of getting on the weekly news cycle beat is his thing. And he does a great job reporting on things as they happen. And
I think that's right. I think the site reporting on news like kind of helps make news happen, and then
I think
it'll
so.
lead to it leads to people wanting to participate, and then you've got your community tournaments and challenges and stuff, and I think it builds on itself.
I didn't always realize that, but like Sega RPG fan Joe, who's responsible for like the online stuff, like the tunnel and allowing us to play our Saturns online. He came and visited me in San Diego once. He was he was doing a job here, and just came and had a beer with me. And he was like, I think of you as like the cheerleader, like you're the guy going, good job, keep going, don't stop, and so that kind of helps drive people. And I don't want to say that we've had that big of a role or anything like that to be cocky or anything, but I think that we must have had some kind of impact, because the Saturn community has really been, just shooting on all cylinders. You know what I mean?
Since I've been paying attention, which is like at the beginning of last year to now, like, I do feel like it's like grown and expanded, and like more stuff is happening.
Yeah, definitely. You've been a part of that too. I'm a huge part of it, and you're just all the stuff you've discovered. And I know it was funny. It was funny. You were just like trying to learn how to use that tool, and the Saturn just seemed like a perfect way to do it.
Like, how many ways can you rescue Yuji Naka from Burning Rangers and also jail? And
no, that's crazy.
How it started, how it's going.
That's right.
That's crazy. Yeah,
we just wanted to bring him out.
I'm just excited to see what other stuff you discover, because I mean, there's a lot of games. There are a lot of Japanese stuff too. So it's like right now you've mostly been focusing on the US stuff, right?
I think I've looked at like pretty much everything except for the Mahjong games and some of the dating sims.
Yeah.
I was a little depressed. I was like, they're not making any more old Saturn games. I'm out. I've done them all. And so I learned how to do the Dreamcast hacking, which also has the same problem. There's a finite number of Dreamcast games. Yeah. But then I learned a bunch of new tricks doing that, and then I did another pass through the Saturn library, and I got a ton more stuff. I got years of notes to write up.
Oh, ooh. Excellent. I mean, for nerds, but
it'd be exciting for the general public. They just need to know more about the Saturn.
Yeah, a lot of it is like, so Bo's articles go real deep, and I think for folks who are like really interested in a lot of like the programming side of it, they'll take a greater interest in it. But a lot of, depending on the game, everybody's kind of got a favorite game and stuff like that. So, you're going to scratch an itch here and there, whenever you cover somebody's favorite game, and
Right. Yeah. I want to do something that's either interesting to somebody who's a programmer or interesting to somebody who likes a game.
Mhm.
And if I get one of those two, I'm happy.
Yeah, and hopefully at the end of the day, we'll have a better, more concise and structured archive of all the cheats that exist. Because I notice you do have like bits and pieces of cheats for different games on different sites. You had like the Code
Right.
Twink thing, and then like the console cheat database or whatever. There's a bunch of different ones, right? And run by different companies that were hawking their own carts and stuff like that, right? And no one of them is complete. I almost have to, like, if I'm adding cheats to my action replay cart, for example, I would be looking at 3 or 4 different sites to get a complete list, and that's not to mention like all the stuff that you've found, Bo, which you add to that.
Yeah, I try to do the new stuff, and then also, I don't know, like a lot of stuff got put on the internet that's just like completely wrong. I don't know if kids on the playground were just like, oh man, you put in,
that exists too.
XYZ, and Sonic breaks into the screen and
nope,
makes fun of your mom.
Makes fun of your mom. Yeah, I mean, you even had that kind of stuff published in magazines, right? Like
right,
like what was
like sometimes they were trolling, but
yeah,
sometimes I don't think they checked.
Yeah,
they don't have enough time.
There was this famous one where the computer and video games, they reported on like the Saturn's BIOS menu that you could like fly the ship or something like that if you or it turned into some kind of shooter. And a lot of people tried it and were frustrated. But of course, that was the April issue. Like it dropped on it. So they should have figured that out,
Yeah, you can get to the end of Blue Spheres and Sonic and Knuckles. A lot of people. I had a friend in elementary school he and his sister were like, we're going to play them all. It's like, you're not going to play them all. No, we're going to play them all. We're writing down all the passwords.
Yeah.
I heard they're still doing it to this day.
He might be.
Yeah.
Just can't
stop. I really hope you're able to figure out how to mash the Sonic world and the special stage from Sonic 3D Blast together and cobble together some
cool.
kind of
jump into the ring and
right. You jump into the ring and then you drop down into the half pipe, right? And then I don't know, but like I just feel like there was a game there, right? What was the third element? Like, so you had there was something else I'm thinking of that could have.
I had Sonic and Tails together in Sonic Jam. That was fun.
Some portion of Sonic R could be called, maybe the rainbow or what's the
Radiant.
It's Radiant, Radiant Emerald.
Yeah.
Like have them run Radiant Emerald as
Super
like
Sonic Racing.
But imagine you mashed like, and I know folks can. I know they're not like apps or applets but in a way, I know that if you could do pointers and stuff like that, and have like certain things point to a different part of that stage, right? Well, because like in Sonic R, you load that level, right, and it is kind of like its own little game, right?
Right.
In a way,
Jam World and 3D Blast special stages are almost like modular enough where you could do it, and R is just like a completely different.
Like a different monster. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It is kind of.
And the rest of 3D Blast is totally crazy.
Right. How hard would it be to drop a Sonic R map into the Sonic World engine, or would it just die?
They're entirely
different. It would
different.
just die. Yeah. No.
I've been able I can import models between like Jam and 3D Blast and Knights even.
Yeah.
But the R ones are different.
You could do it in like on the PC, right?
Right.
And then you could try to port it back. You know what I mean? But it would be it would be like building it from the ground up, you know?
Yeah. I did last year a mod of Knights where you're just on foot with Elliot and Claris, but they're faster.
Yes.
And I wanted that to be Sonic because they've got the Sonic model in Christmas Nights.
Right.
And I couldn't get the textures right. So I have Sonic and he's just got this horrible glitch face
Right.
that looks like a nightmare, which is thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
But it didn't work visually,
Right.
and I could like the textures would have just been like this nightmare of like spreadsheets and like trying to find room for the thing. And it's like, you know what? Let's make Elliot and Claris be able to spin or to do a spin attack. Let's do that.
There's still some hope then. You could have Sonic just functional.
If I run out of Saturn games,
If you run out of right. Well, how many Saturn games do you have left? You said you've got some Mahjong. Well, you said you have a whole bunch of notes now from your second pass.
got a bunch of notes.
You have
now.
a whole. All right.
I'm trying not to do all the bad games at once. I got to sprinkle.
I have a question for you guys. It's Saturn related. It's Sonic R related.
Mm-hmm.
For folks who may not know, and I'm in that camp of like I don't know like the deep meaning of it or like the significance behind it. But can you all explain what the deal is with Tails doll? Like what that because I know it gets pretty dark, right? Like what is the deal with Tails doll?
It's just a doll. Yeah. I mean
it's just a doll.
It is just it's a doll that floats. I guess
sentient.
Does the Japanese manual have anything about it?
No, he's an unlockable character. He's not mentioned in the manual.
Oh.
He just sort of.
I feel like that was like a major part of Sonic R is like Metal Knuckles. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah,
and
Tails doll just is. I know there's.
Tails doll like.
I know there is a picture.
But is the I don't know if I'm just imagining this or if it's like a Mandela thing, but I thought it was supposed to be kind of like evil or like
it definitely looks
have some kind of, but I don't know if that's just the internet doing that, like memeing it and making it into something more than it is.
Yeah.
Or maybe the fact that it looks like a voodoo doll or something like that. Like,
yeah. And he's on that infinite checkerboard in the rendered art. It's really weird. But our friend, John Gray, he's an artist for the IDW comics now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He, on our message boards back in 1997, started this thing with our other friend, Jared, where if you looked into his eyes too much, he would slurp your soul out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it would make a sound effect of like slurp.
Slurp.
Okay.
And so that was just like a meme on our message board for a couple of years. But then he got it into the Archie comic, John, when he was drawing them.
Okay.
And it took off from there. It like became like an official thing of like Tails doll is creepy and he's going to slurp out your soul.
Right.
Okay.
And like he was always putting like stuff into the comics, like things for us to notice.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, it became spooky. That's why one issue has Drano cookies in it, which
that's
you don't want to. Yeah, do not eat Drano cookies.
Drano?
Like, Drano. Yeah, like
put in the toilet. Okay.
Like,
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
That was also one of the inside.
That was our friend Jared.
Yes, that was also Jared.
Experimented with Drano cookies. Is that just like a concept?
He said he got it from some movie, right?
I think he did, but I don't remember what or if he even remember it correctly or it was a misremembered thing. Okay, so I did some quick look. On the original Japanese Sonic R webpage, there is character profiles for everyone. So with a dirty Google Translate, Tails doll is just described as follows. It was created as a last resort by Eggman to lure Sonic off guard and attack him. It has a power unit embedded in its head, and is otherwise just a stuffed animal, but due to its lightweight design, it is quite capable in races. It can also float in the air for long periods of time. That's all it was. I guess,
okay.
But it's just, like I don't think we've ever seen concept art of Tails doll.
Right.
I think it was just one of those things where like 32-bit polygonal model looks a lot weirder than if it had just, if it was made on the Dreamcast or if it was made on the PS5.
Are you guys familiar with Pokemon at all? Do you know Mimikyu? Mimikyu is like kind of.
Which one was that introduced in?
I don't remember.
I've only played the original Game
Boy.
So
Mimikyu kind of looks like Pikachu, but it's like a doll. And it's
I know what you mean.
It'll don't look under, it's scared or it'll suck your soul out or something like that. Like it has, I forget what the thing with Mimikyu is, but it's a lot of the same vibe. Basically, it's kind of like this like sentient, like half awake kind of
like the Halloween Pikachu.
That's non-threatening enough, but then like if you look at it wrong, it'll suck your soul out or something like that. So I don't know if they copied Tails doll or what, came first, but I've always wondered about that. I didn't know the thing about your friend writing that into the comic, so that's interesting.
Yeah, his art is this like very detailed. It's almost like a Where's Waldo thing he does
Mhm.
with just tons of characters in the background, and then there's always like some reference in there too. Like
Mhm.
he's been on the show. He's a great hang, John Gray.
Yes.
Well, yeah, shoot me a link and I'll listen to that episode. You guys have done so many. I was looking at your cast the other day and I was like, where do I start? I listened to the one with Cory Maru. I listened to a couple others, but yeah, so shoot me that link and I'll definitely check it out.
A fellow defender of the Sega Saturn, Cory Maru.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So before we get out of here, looking toward the future, are you excited about the new Virtua Fighter and the new Shinobi and the new stuff
definitely.
on the horizon?
Yeah, like the whole initiative to bring back a lot of those games. I think, yeah, just in general, absolutely. More Sega any way I can get it. And, folks need to support the company as much as they can. And I'm glad that they acquired Atlas and that they're doing the Persona games too. And, Yakuza is successful and popular. Like I just want to see new generations fall in love with Sega too. And I want to see as much of the blue sky Sega, remain as possible, because it's different than Nintendo. It's their own thing. We were just doing a cast, Pat and I, with the Sega guys and talking about the composers and talking about Sega and their music and how vital and integral it is to every Sega game, much more so than any other game company, I think. There's just something, there's a lot of intangibles about Sega, but one thing is for sure, like the attitude and the music and just the vibe and a lot of the great gameplay too, and character design. Like good, solid character design is just so important in Sega games. So looking at the swath of games that are coming, I think like at least half of them look like they're going to execute.
Yeah, Shinobi looks awesome.
Yeah, Shinobi looks awesome. That was like that one was I think a home run. Jet Set Radio, I think looks promising, but they, Bomber Cyberpunk was amazing, and I think a lot of people kind of share that sentiment. Like, I hope they can do at least as good as that or better, and Crazy Taxi, of course, like, I think it's good, bringing it online. You have to, I think, nowadays you have to have that element. And I think, any way they can get, younger kids and younger audiences involved in it, I think is good. Cause I've heard some negative comments recently about like Dreamcast games and stuff from younger audiences. And I'm just like, seriously, how can you not?
We're in the backlash phase.
Right. Yeah. So I'm all for just more Sega for sure. So, and it all looks good to me. Golden Axe, I don't know a whole lot about the Golden Axe project. That one I haven't heard nearly as much as I have about all the other stuff. But
yeah, I keep wanting to see more of the Virtua Fighter because the little clips that they have look great. I hope they stick the landing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How long has it been? I was like, how long has it been since the last proper Virtua Fighter? Not the re-releases or the
like 5, right?
Yeah, like how long has it been since 5
came
out?
11, 12 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That's way too long.
Over a decade, for sure, over a decade. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna make all like the really hardcore fighting community happy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm gonna be like really deep into playing Virtua Fighter. I never really was that big into fighting games. But of course, like when the first Virtua Fighter came out, that was just amazing to everybody,
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard thing is like you don't have many opportunities to do that anymore where you come out and shock the world and show them something they've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much as excited as I am to see like a new Virtua Fighter game, I also want Sega to try to take risks and be experimental like they were, which I think is kind of counterintuitive to business nowadays. Like they obviously every game company just kind of wants to play it safe and do something that they know is going to have a paycheck. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
I don't know, when you're a company,
you got to give me a Seaman or a Samba de Amigo.
And it's funny, like they're continuing a lot of those franchises now because they're so beloved. But you realize like when they were making those, they were doing it from a position of like, well, the ship is going down. And so it's, throw whatever you've got, throw it at the wall and we'll see if it sticks. You know what I mean? So, and that's when a lot of cool, when you let creative artists loose like that and just let them do what they want to do, they create some cool stuff. But yeah, so that's why I feel like the indie community is also so vital to Sega. It's so, hand in hand with Sega because they're not doing things for a paycheck necessarily. They might work on the same project for like 3 years until they're happy with, and it's just as they like it, and then release it for like Sage, And so you see so much cool stuff like that. So even if it means Sega bringing more amateur coders on board, like even if it's Sega buying, paying those amateur game developers for their great work, and making it, bringing it into the fold and making it, a Sega IP, I'm all for that too, because I want to see more.
Bring it.
I want to see more like creative and innovative things from Sega,
Bring it on, I say.
like Choo Choo Rocket.
I
want to see another Choo Choo Rocket game.
Yeah, I mean that is the heart and soul of Sega, I think.
Right?
Because even the idea of Sonic, I think, was a little wild and out there, and how them wanting to experiment with what a platformer could be. And we take it now as old hat, but really, it does feel, that was like the first one that went, what if it wasn't just Mario? So even little things like that were big deals. And
it's just like a hedgehog was not cool before 1991. It was like, oh, those little weird things from the UK.
Those little weird,
I guess.
Right. I wanted to ask one quick thing because I know we should wrap it up. But
sure.
as a fan and aficionado of the Sega Saturn, what is one game that you think is like it's extremely overlooked that you wish?
What's your dark horse?
Yeah, what Saturn game do you love that nobody ever talks about, and you want to change that? You want people to play it. You want people to love it, just like you.
Part of me wants to say like Dragon Force, because I think that's a really, really good game that a lot of folks shy away from because of the menus and stuff. Go play that, but that's not the one that I'm going to choose. I'm going to go with a game that I'm choosing because, like the David Lynch stuff and the Twin Peaks stuff, I like games that are kind of unsettling, that are kind of weird, a little uncanny, Lunacy, also known as Gekka Mugentan Toriko. It's just a wonderful, kind of quirky, odd game that is like first person perspective, kind of Shenmue, like, wandering around the town. I don't know if you get to open drawers per se, but there are like things that you can pick up. There are odd little, really, really poorly voiced conversations that are very Shenmue-esque, The cool thing about it is that I think that it's the pinnacle of that first person perspective genre with like FMV. And they got it so well that navigation is seamless. And like when it loads up cutscenes, it's seamless. Like so much about it is like loading and streaming data while you're doing the next thing, so that you don't notice it.
Right, it does it way better than like Atlantis.
Way better than Myst or Atlantis.
Yeah,
like it obviously was greatly inspired by that. And I mean, they choked a couple times with the Mansion games. Mansion of Hidden Souls was kind of like their test bed. That was them learning to walk basically on the Sega CD, and then of course on the Saturn with the game of like the same name, but it was like a prequel or whatever. Anyway, so Lunacy, that's my choice. Lunacy, it's a great game. It's like one of my favorite games on the Saturn. It's 2 discs. It's got a map. I mean, you don't have to buy a copy. You just download it and try it. I wonder if you would find any codes in that game. I don't know. It's not really the code.
I've peeked at it.
Kind of game. It does have like a save system, so you can play it in small chunks and go to work and pick it, and it even is nice. It's kind of like Netflix or like your latest anime show gives you a little bit of a recap or a buffer of like what you watched. It does that. Like you can go into the menu and see like what in FMV cutscenes, like what you just played or whatever. So you can kind of remember what
that is
were.
very Shenmue.
Which is cool because if you put it down for 6 months because you're playing Sonic Frontiers or whatever, or the latest Persona game, and then you come back to it, you're like, where the hell was I? It's nice that way, So, and yeah, so you're this guy named Fred who has amnesia, and you're locked in a jail cell, and the dude in the jail cell gives you the key. He has the key, and he's just hanging out in the jail cell, And then after he gives you the key and you get out, he complains. He's like, now how do I get out? Why the hell were you in there in the first place then, you know? So I don't know. It's kind of funny in like a not trying to be funny way, but it is. But yeah, so I recommend that.
Good pick.
That is a good pick.
All right,
I like that.
Saturn Dave, this was great. Come back anytime. David is going to take us out to the dulcet tones of Empire City at night.
That's right.
Not at day.
Not at day.
I've got that on the soundboard too.
Oh, really? I guess that's for when we're being wild, going off script. But we're not off script now. No. We've gotten to the end. You hear the music. The sun has set. The moon is rising. And what happens when the moon has risen? Why, that's right. You might have forgotten the fact that you've reached the end of another episode of Sonic Weekly. Oh, lunacy, etc. There's a really good segue there. But if you don't really care about segues, you should, if you haven't already, subscribe to this podcast using your podcatcher of choice, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or of course for the Android faithful, Podcast Addict. Give us a rating, give us a review. That algorithmic magic does help us in some way, even if nobody truly understands how. But if you reject all podcatchers, we are over at YouTube at Sonic-Weekly. You can like, comment, subscribe, and our voices are joined as always with video game footage played by friend of the show, Jack of Old Games. If you've liked what you've heard, you want to reach out. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna promote.
Yeah, don't
you.
worry.
Don't
That's
worry.
at the.
No, I was
Yeah,
I was
don't
just
worry.
putting that there. I didn't mean to derail you.
Oh no.
That was more like a little wink wink.
A little wink. Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry. Hey, if you want to reach out to the show, it's as always SonicWeeklyPodcast at gmail.com. Drop us a line. We like to hear what you've got to say. We do have a mailbag segment from time to time, and it's the only way to get a link. What? To our Discord server where you can talk to like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans up to and including Sonic T. Hedgehog. What? Whoa. Hey, and if you have enjoyed what you've heard and you're able to help support us financially to help offset the costs of hosting and production, we are on Ko-fi as well. Throw something in the tip jar, or for $5 a month, become one of our EPs, just like Pig Dan, Pabsy, Sonic, Saving Throws, Calbagerian, and Alt Synth. Whoa. Hey, but if you can't, we just appreciate you listening, and hey, you can tell your buddies they're all welcome here. Haha. Whoa. Wink. Gotta thank our guest, Mr. Sega Saturn Dave, the Saturn, Sega Saturn, David to his friends, Dave to the world. Of course, gotta check out SegaSaturnShiro.com. There's links in the description.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there, unless there's something else you really want to plug that's not the Saturn site.
Yeah.
There's the website, there's the podcast, there's the weekly show,
Yeah.
there's the Discord server.
And check
Check
out
it out. There's
all
all sorts of
Bo's
cool Saturn
Substack.
stuff.
Check out Bo's Rings of Saturn as well.
Right.
He
You should definitely do that.
Yeah, do that. And I mean, you can check out all of his articles on Shiro as well. But I mean, if you want to go deeper into the minutia, definitely sub to Bo's. It's Substack, right? Or is it
Substack?
there
Yeah.
you go.
32bits.substack.com. If you want to go there, all the Saturn stuff is syndicated on Sega Saturn Shiro. So.
Oh, right. You're in syndication. You're just like AOSTH.
Yeah,
That's right. Well, this was so much fun.
Yes.
Thank you, Dave, and do come back.
Mhm.
We will see the listeners, hopefully with Grant, next time.
That's right. We're going to thank Smoovies for the edit real quick. Can't forget that. And thank you, Bo, for being Grant this week. And I guess I got to thank Grant for surviving being within 500 feet of Ken Penders, right?
Well, we don't know if he has yet, but
Oh, that's right.
he's here
If
next
he's-
week. We know he will.
Right. If he's not, we're in trouble.
Thanks, Grant.